Hello everyone, welcome back to YK Reviews. For today's video, it's going to be a video game review. I haven't done one since September, but this is going to be all about The Last of Us Part 2, the sequel to one of my favourite games of all time, The Last of Us by Naughty Dog. So, let's get into it here. With The Last of Us Part 2, this is a direct sequel. It takes place basically 4 years after the events of The Last of Us, and for point of reference, this is going to be a non-spoiler review, so if you haven't played this game, I'm not going to give out any major details or major plots of like what happened or anything like that. But in terms of like the actual gameplay, I'm just going to get it out the way now. I've got mixed feelings in terms of this one. Obviously, The Last of Us Part 1 so much better, 100 times better than this one. However, I don't hate it as much as other people do, and I understand the hate for this game, but I'm in the feeling that I can play this game multiple times and I have no problem with it. It is an enjoyable game for me. However, there's glaring problems with this, which once again, I won't get into too much specifics, but there's a lot of issues with this game. And I'm just going to get this out the way right now. When it comes to Joel and Ellie's relationship and the continuation of like their storyline, I feel like because it focuses more on Ellie for obvious reasons, if you know, you know, I feel like that kind of like, what's the word, lowers not the quality but lowers the enjoyment level of the game in itself for me, because what I really liked about The Last of Us Part 1 was that relationship between Joel and Ellie, the dynamic between the two of them, the scenes that they would have, like the cutscenes, and the gameplay with the two of them, and that rapport that they built with each other was what made The Last of Us so great. So then when The Last of Us Part 2, in this particular game, having it more focused on just Ellie and like Joel is sort of like a back burner and isn't heavily focused unless it says flashbacks or anything like that, kind of took away from it, because in the game in itself, you've got Ellie and her storyline. You get introduced to like these new characters and recurring characters like Tommy, for example. You get introduced to Dina. You get introduced to like these other characters, and then the main character on the other side of things, you get introduced to Abby, which you have so much hate for Abby for what she did. Once again, no spoilers for that, but if you know, you know. But then playing as her and like her point of view and that kind of stuff kind of like loses the enjoyment of like what you got from The Last of Us Part 1. And I'll be honest, for me, when it comes to Abby, I liked her storyline, but I hated the character. I'll be completely honest. Like, it was hard for me to like get into her character and enjoy like her storyline. I just feel like the focus on her and like, especially there was like flashbacks and like you get from her point of view from like growing up and that kind of stuff, and like what she experienced from like part 1 of The Last of Us as the timeline of Joel and Ellie. You get her side of things, and it was kind of like, it wasn't as enjoyable or as fun as compared to like when you're playing with Ellie. But once like you get further into the game, once the game does develop more, you start enjoying the actual gameplay, you start enjoying it. There's one particular part where you're in like this huge long building, skyscraper type thing, and it's just like nerve-wracking and enjoyable, the gameplay in itself. However, like other plots and storylines when it comes to Abby just wasn't as fun, so that kind of like derailed it and like took me out of it in terms of that part. But when it comes to like the overall storyline, the overall plot, I did enjoy it. I found it enjoyable, I found it engaging. You were able to like stay on top of the game, enjoy like the full details of Ellie's storyline, Joel's storyline, Abby's storyline, the switching between the characters. As much as like it derailed a bit when it comes to Abby stuff, like Ellie's part was fantastic, because when it comes to like the actual gameplay, it is a vast improvement compared to like The Last of Us Part 1, graphic wise, gameplay wise. And because Ellie's like slightly older now, you get to like actually explore more. For example, like the grass is like higher, so you get to like crawl around. The improvements in the graphics and the gameplay when it comes to like the engine, when it comes to weapons, much more fun, much more enjoyable. Ellie is able to like go through windows, jump through like rooftops and that kind of stuff. It's more of an experience when it comes to like Ellie. And then also when it comes to like the clickers and the actual like infected people, I feel like it was, for me, I found it more difficult facing them because I feel like they got more intelligent and more smarter. You have more of like a difficult time trying to like maneuver them, trying to like outmaneuver them, trying to kill them. Even one particular scene with this huge clicker infected, I can't remember what the exact name of him was, but like having to like try and like destroy that creature, like it was fun. The only nitpick I have for that was that it wasn't enough for them because you're focusing on like Abby's storyline, Ellie's storyline. You don't get to like explore much of the clickers and the infected as you do in the first game. But overall, nonetheless, that was really enjoyable, and like the improvements in the gameplay and the engine, because it's like the PS4 version of it, was much improved. I have to say that. I definitely feel like it's a lot more smoother in experience, a lot more smoother in terms of the gameplay in itself. And I have to say, there's one particular scene that's just so gut-wrenching and for me really tugged at the heartstrings when it comes to like Joel and Ellie. There's one particular like flashbacks that they have when it comes to like Ellie's birthday.
Happy birthday, kiddo.
What is this?
This is a thing that took a mighty effort to find. I do okay.
Are you fucking kidding me?
You're welcome, kiddo.
Which is, for me, was one of my favourite scenes in the whole gameplay. That cutscene alone was just so fantastic. Like, that's what you miss a lot. Joel and Ellie, their dynamic is just, it's untouchable for me. But overall, in terms of the game in itself, I completely understand where people are coming from, because towards like the third act, towards like the end of the game, it sort of like does drag out a little bit. Overall, I did have a fun time with this game. It is enjoyable. For me, I would definitely replay it, but doing a part 1 and part 2 like back to back, it has got a replayable factor in it. So for me, I would recommend this game. I feel like it's definitely a good follow-up to The Last of Us Part 1. However, don't expect to see a lot of Joel in it because he is sort of like in the back burner. But the storyline with Ellie was very fun. Playing as Ellie was very enjoyable. And overall, the plot is fun. Not as great as the first one, but it is a fun game to play. A very enjoyable game to play. So one I would recommend in itself. And I segue to a shameless plug of mine where last week or earlier this week I did a video where the entertainment news, movie news kind of stuff, and there was a release date for HBO's Last of Us coming out in January. So if you haven't seen the video, check it out. There is going to be a link somewhere up here. However, for The Last of Us, I'm very excited for that show and I cannot wait to see what they're going to do with it. So definitely let me know your thoughts down below. If you've played the game, if you haven't played the game, if you like it, if you hated it, let me know down in the comment section below. And your excitement level for The Last of Us TV series coming out on January there. But this is my take on The Last of Us Part 2, the video game. I haven't done a video game review in a while, so we'll be getting back to that though. But thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for listening. And if you haven't already though, hit that subscribe button, like button, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. And also keep an eye out on the channel there, because I plan on every week giving out movie news, TV news, latest showbiz news types of things. So keep an eye out on the channel for the videos every single week there. But once again, thank you so much for watching and listening. This is YK Reviews. Peace.